Hello everyone and welcome today for our webinar. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll be speaking about SherWeb's PSA integrations and how selling cloud solutions has never been easier. My name is Nicholas Ford. I'm an account executive here at SherWeb, and I'm also joined today by Tanya Gobet, who is a business analyst at SherWeb. So for today's topic, we're going to be discussing something that has been requested from our partners, probably the most requested feature from our partners of all time, which is how can we tie in our Cumulus platform into your PSA, such as Autotask or ConnectWise, just to name a few. And what we want to actually do before we kick off this webinar is we have a short poll, about 4 questions to ask you today. And we just want to make sure that this webinar is a little bit more interactive, as well as gather or continuously gather feedback throughout the process. So on your screen right now, you're going to see the first question coming to you, which is, are you currently using a PSA? So if you can please just take a second here to answer that question. Looks like we have about an even split on that. Okay, about 60-40, 50-50. Great, great. And on our second question, it's actually a 2-part question. So if you don't see your answer there, please wait until part 2. What we want to find out from you is, which of the following PSAs are you using? So in the first one here, we can see we have ConnectWise, Autotask, Kaseya, Atira, and TigerPaw. Looks like Autotask is the leader for right now. And we're getting to a tie. You want to put the second option now for them?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So part 2, we have Synchro MSP, QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, or of course the other option as well. So other could be also, your own proprietary software. Seems to be popular. Great. So finally, the last question for you, and then we'll go ahead and bug you with all this great information here, is how long do you spend per week consolidating information manually? So we have the 4 options, which is less than 5 hours, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, or the very unfortunate more than 15 hours of consolidation. Okay, so it seems to be about as expected here, mainly between 5 to 10 hours per week. Still pretty significant amount of time.
Definitely.
Great. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for that. We definitely appreciate this, and we will continue to have a Q&A section at the end to make sure that this still is interactive. And of course, if we've missed anything after the fact, we'll be sure to let you know how to get into contact with us. So for our first slide here, today we're joined by a mix of existing partners as well as new partners. So I wanted to take just a quick second to explain who SherWeb is and what we're all about. So SherWeb is a born in the cloud solution provider who, over the 2 decades that we've been operating, have been developing skill sets, teamwork, and knowledge of the industry to help our partners grow their cloud business. We are truly by your side with anything from support, onboarding, architecting, selling, marketing, billing, legal. I mean, really any department that we have here at SherWeb have an open door policy to help our partners. And the concept is quite simple. We grow when you grow. So we focus on helping our partners' business succeed and providing best-in-class cloud solutions. So here we have a quote from one of our partners, Travis, over at Fuse Networks, who mentioned to us that SherWeb accelerates my growth by giving me the tools to really focus on the next step. And that definitely is something that we've been working towards for quite some time here at SherWeb. Not only are we just talking about tools today in terms of integrating that billing functionality from all things cloud to your billing platforms, but of course also onboarding tools, quoting tools, go-to-market strategy tools as well. So for the next point here, I'm going to actually have Tanya come in and introduce herself a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and start bugging you with some questions about the integration.
Okay. Well, I'm a business analyst at SherWeb. I've been here for a few years already. And I participated in the whole integration project from the beginning to the delivery. So discussed with partners at the beginning to get to know how they use their software and what we needed to do to deliver the best integration that would suit their needs.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. I think it's important to note just to everybody here that when we went ahead and took on this initiative, to develop this integration, we really did make sure that we had as much feedback as possible. So through a variety of partner advisory councils and our Accelerate event, right. And of course, just hearing from partners through surveys and discussions.
We also did some one-on-one interviews with partners and some beta testing and some user testing. And so we've involved the partners from the beginning in these projects.
Absolutely. And really just to make sure that it's built for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Great. So let's go ahead and just dive into some of these questions then. So for the first one, I'd like to ask you, Tanya, why has SherWeb built these integrations?
Right. So I think PSA integrations was the most requested feature that we've had from our partners over the year. And we want our partner portal to be integral into their business, into our partners' business, and for their experience to be seamless with us. Mm-hmm. So mainly that's why we decided to work on that and prioritize these initiatives.
Great. And can you tell us about the main features of the PSA integrations?
Right. So what we wanted to do is to make sure that it's really easy to use, right? So SherWeb, we simplify the cloud. Well, we wanted to simplify the integration. So we have a really easy one-time setup where you just, set it and you forget it. So you go in the integration, you set up everything to make sure that it works, and then you're going to get a real-time synchronization. Mm-hmm. So as soon as something changes in your cumulus, it's going to be sent to your PSA. And
this happens automatically. This isn't something that you have to keep on going back and poking and prodding.
Definitely automatic. And even as soon as something is not working properly, you're going to get real-time alerts notified that there's a new product that you've added that you hadn't set up, or that there's a new company or anything that's not working properly. You'll be notified. So to make sure you don't leave any money on the table, or you don't have billing errors, right?
Right. Right, because Lord knows if I was in their shoes, I don't know anything about how to do these sort of tie-ins. So being alerted as far as how to do it is ideal.
Definitely. Right. We also the pricing remains where it's authoritative, where you bill your customers. So in your either in your ConnectWise or your Autotask is where you keep the up-to-date pricing, and Cumulus will send you your cost so that you can easily see in your PSA tool how much you're paying for these products and how much you're billing your customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And so we were looking at, obviously trying to help optimize everything for our partners, make things easier. We asked about, how many hours they spend manually tracking this. And it is something from an account manager's perspective I hear all the time, with all of these different solutions, it takes so much time to make sure I'm billing properly, especially when we're looking at, some lower margin products like Office that have so many changes.
Right.
So I guess the question then becomes, how many hours per week could these integrations save our partners?
Right. Well, I think we saw with the poll at the beginning, right, where you would save on average 5 to 10 hours a week. Mm-hmm. But it's not necessarily just the time that you're going to be saving. It's the efficiency that you're gaining, right? So while you're not reconciling billing and poring over SherWeb's invoice to make sure that all of your customers' invoices are accurate and that you're charging the right prorates if you do that, mm-hmm. Well, you can be working on your business. You can be helping your customers. You can be fixing problems, so you don't have to dedicate so much of that time. So you're not just saving time. You have new time to do things with, right?
Right. So there's even some I guess calculations we can't even make right now until after when they realize it. Okay, wonderful. So let's move on to the next slide here, where we're going to just talk a few key points in terms of, what are the actual benefits of this outside of the questions that we answered. So when we talk about the easy one-time setup, we're really talking about seamless integration. We made sure that it's easy to link SherWeb offers, prices to your PSA, right? So, Autotask, ConnectWise, Kaseya, whatever you're using, linking our services to boost your productivity and efficiency. We also want to make sure that everything is in one place. at SherWeb, we're looking to become a one-stop shop, or as much as we can. There's so many technologies that we keep on onboarding, and we want to make sure that we can also provide you with one single place to manage your billing, right? So as far as the changes happen in our portal, they speak back to your PSA, and you can manage your clients from there. We also want to make sure that you can bill your way. So whether that's something you want to bill in advance or prior, it's completely up to you. And we can automate a recurring billing method. Again, so you can spend more time providing value-added services, as Tanya said, versus trying to manage all of this. And then reducing errors is going to help with accurate invoicing. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of horror stories of years to almost 2 years of partners missing billing, and it is just something that does happen. It falls through the cracks, right? So this is going to help you reduce human error and really make sure that you're up to date on even things that are pay-as-you-go. So even something like Azure, where it has over 16,000 SKUs and it's billed per minute, right? And of course, being up to date with really anything that you're doing. So let's say, for example, you have somebody in there who makes an adjustment, forgets to tell sales ops about it, they don't add it to the bill. Well, luckily, that's the thing of the past. When you have the integration, it'll update your client's records in that system.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything you want to add in there?
I think you mentioned the bill your way. So the point is that not all partners bill their customers the same way.
Right.
We've got partners that are pre-billing. We've got partners that are billing in arrears. We've got partners that charge prorates, and we've got partners that don't. So the important thing is that the integration will allow you to keep billing your customers the way you were billing them before, and everything will be adjusted according to the way you bill your customers.
Great, wonderful. Well, that definitely makes a huge help because obviously everybody runs things a little bit differently, right?
Definitely.
So as far as the next steps concerned, we're going to show you, and I'm sure everybody's very eager for this. This is probably one of the main reasons. It's not to hear me talk, although I'd love for that to be the case, but I do understand it's for the demo. And what we'll do is Tanya's on her laptop here. We'll get into Cumulus. So for those of you who aren't partners with us already, this is going to give you kind of a sneak peek as far as what our portal looks like. For those of you who are familiar with any sort of admin roles, you'd be able to access this. But now we have it open here. This is our SherWeb Cumulus platform. And I will stop talking. Tanya, please take it away.
Okay. So once you've, I'm going to show you today how to set up Autotask. A lot of you have Autotask already. So in your setup, you can go to Autodesk Sync. And there's a little bit of instructions to give you an idea of what to expect. We're just going to go ahead and start. So for the connection configuration, you need here to have a user. Let me enter that first.
And it's just good to know we're using Autotask because we already had that set up on our demo environment, but this process is going to be pretty well the same for any sort of PSA that you have. Ultimately, the interface of the actual PSA is different, right? But from a Cumulus perspective,
they're pretty much standard. The connection configuration is specific to Autotask, and there's a specific one to ConnectWise. So we'll just go in here and go ahead and test the connection to make sure I've entered the password properly. So this is an API user that you need to create in Autotask. If you don't know how, we have a documentation here that'll guide you step by step. You need to give them the API user role so that this gives Cumulus the right to make the changes as this user. So right now we're doing the initial setup, which is taking all the subscriptions that you have in Cumulus and setting them up so that they can be integrated with Autotask. So it takes a little while.
This is a one-time step, though.
One time.
Right.
This is the first time. I wanted to show you, I know there was a little delay, but I thought it was important for you to see how easy it is to just, connect to Autotask.
You're really testing to make sure that we can actually do this, because when it's live, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. So it takes a little while, but once it's done, it'll be connected for good.
Right. I mean, the idea here is that you don't have to keep coming back to it all the time. So let it take its 2 minutes or whatever to set up, and away we go. Right.
And there you go. It's already done.
Hey, look at that.
So what we have here is the list of all the offers that you've provisioned in Cumulus amongst all of your customers. So the first step is to go and specify which offer you want to sync, because you don't have to sync everything. There might be some things that you pay SherWeb per license, but then you bill it in a bundle with other stuff. So you might want the information in Autotask and you might not want it. So you can choose for each and every product if you want to sync it or not. And here I'm just going to go and get the equivalent product in my Autotask.
And this would be something that I would have set up prior to doing this.
So definitely right now you should have all of your SherWeb products created in Autotask because you're billing them, right? So it depends on how you name them. The only prerequisite is that you set SherWeb as a vendor in your Autotask product so that it shows up in the list. So you won't have in this list every single product that you have in your PSA. You will have the ones that you've tagged as SherWeb being the vendor.
Great.
Now I'm going to go ahead and map a few of them, both of them actually. There's a nice thing here that sometimes our partners, when we did test, they were a bit confused as to who again has this this product. I mean, I've got a really simple setup, but some people have hundreds, right?
I've seen a lot of mix and matches, yeah.
So we added a little bit of information to help you remember who's got this product. So we'll go get it and see.
And what I like is we're not overwhelming them with all of our products because, you know, being a one-stop shop, we have so many SKUs and partners who've been with us for years have some legacy business, right? So it's nice that we're not throwing everything at everybody. You just set up what you need and you go from there.
And then we'll go ahead and do online backup. So
an online backup being the pay-as-you-go type billing, right?
Right. Well, there's both parts to this one. So I'm gonna go and save that. So online backup has a no, it's a pay-as-you-go. Sorry.
Right. First 50, then pay. Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Great.
So I hit save, and it brings me to the organization mapping. So here I'm going to map my organizations to the Autotask accounts, and again, I don't have to do everybody.
So I can choose if I have some that I feel shouldn't be, for whatever reason, I can't think of a scenario, but let's just say there's a reason why I can choose to leave them out of it.
Definitely. Okay. And what you see here, it looks like my list of products. Of course, this is a test account, right?
Sure.
So
it'd be customer A, B, C if it were somewhere else, right?
Right. Well, CloudGenix is the same. It's the same name. But if we look at the contracts here, I've seen some partners have contracts that say, I don't know, something like Gold Service Plan. Or,
okay, I understand.
Right.
Okay.
It can be whatever you've created. Just so happens that our test account, we've mapped them. So I've got Exchange 2016. So I'm going to pick the hosted Exchange 2016 contract. And another thing that's nice to know as the feature is that you can map, for instance, Tech Cloud. Tech Cloud, there you go. And I'm only going to map Office 365 Business because the online backup is included in my bundle, right?
Nice of you. Okay.
So I can only map one of them if I want.
We can really dive deep down within the client and pick. Not only can we mix and match in general, we can mix and match specific for the customer.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna map that one. And that's it. As soon as I hit save, the synchronization is enabled and it's functional. So this is the one-time setup that you have to do. What I wanna show you now, I'm not gonna go in Autotask, but I'm gonna explain that if I do make any change, for instance, I mapped Office 365 Business, if I do increase the quantity, it's immediate. The information will be sent to Autotask.
But you can see this in the log, right? As our API user increasing the quantity and decreasing the quantity.
Exactly. Right. Another thing that's interesting to know is that if I decide to buy something else, for instance, let me go get another Office 365 SKU. It's a new plan that I haven't bought yet.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna purchase that. You can see right away, I have a warning here. So this tells me that there's something that's not syncing because I haven't mapped it. If I come here, they said, oh, you have an unmapped item in offer mappings. Well, let's go there. And so I have Enterprise Pro Plus. Not quite sure I have the equivalent, but let's,
we can pretend.
Let's pretend with Quick Help.
Don't do this, everybody who's watching, use the right one, but.
Definitely. And it's the same thing. I'm going a bit too fast, but it'll tell you that you need to go and map it in your contracts. So let's map it. With the customer as well. Yeah. And that's it. And the important thing to note is that maybe like one of your employees did the change and maybe you're the one that sets up the configuration. But it doesn't matter if days go by before you correct the mapping. As soon as your integration is set up, the integration saves all of the changes. And once you've fixed the configuration and fixed the mappings, it's going to push all of that to your Autotask.
Oh, great. So the inevitable, Nick coming in there, adding something, not telling anybody, forgetting and leaving.
Right.
I'm okay because somebody can come in and it'll push it back to that date.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
What we recommend is before you actually run your billing in Autotask or ConnectWise, you just jump in a ConnectWise, jump in the cumulus, right? And check that setup, see that everything's okay. If there's no mapping errors, if there's nothing missing, then you're all good to go. You can generate your invoices.
We're taking that confirmation of SherWeb being, let's say it's the 5 to 10 hours, or making that 5 minutes in theory. All you have to do is make sure, are there any red flags anywhere?
Exactly.
And then go. Okay.
Exactly. There's one thing I didn't mention in detail is that you can choose, well, I mentioned it before, you can choose to prorate or not. So a lot of our partners in the interviews that we made said, oh, I don't do prorate, that breaks my brain, right? Because there's a lot of calculations involved in having to count the number of days where you've had the licenses or removed them. So you can choose to stay not prorated depending on the agreements that you have with your customers. But you can also decide to activate proration and then make sure that if you're paying SherWeb for 5 days for a service, then you're sending that bill off to your customer as well. So it's something that you can change. You can try it. We have a lot of partners that have done that. They've tried it without the proration just to make sure, and it didn't bring any changes in the way they bill their customers. And then they set it up with proration and afterwards. So that's something you can do anytime. The only difference is that if you don't prorate, we'll always be using the start date of your contract or of your agreement in your PSA. And if you prorate, we will be using the exact date where the change occurred.
Right. And let's say, for example, I didn't see this awesome webinar before getting in here, and I decided, I need to make sure this is set up, but I'm running into issues and I just, whether it's, for lack of reading the instructions, because I do go through things without reading instructions often, who can I reach out to for help? Is that, do I have to reach out to Autotask for this?
No. So we have I call it a white glove onboarding process. So you can see throughout it was there in the welcome screen as well. If you need help, well, this one brings you to the create a support ticket for Autotask integration. But when you're in the welcome screen, the first one that I can't show you now because I've already been welcomed. If you need help onboarding, you just click on the link and it will send a ticket automatically. One of our onboarding specialists will give you a call and we can go through this with you, hold your hand through the whole process and explain how you need to do things.
Oh, great.
So there's also a lot of documentation. We wanted to do something where you could set this up on your own, right? Not everybody's always available.
I don't want to have to call into somebody all the time.
Yeah, and scheduling sometimes is a pain. Some of our partners do this on the nights and weekends. Right. So you can give it a try, and all the documentation is available in the screen. If you look the configuration procedures, synchronization scenarios will explain to you in detail what's going to happen. So what happens when I add something? What happens when I remove something? And with the different type of products that we have, there's different scenarios to be considered, right? There's the pay-as-you-go, there's the quotas. So all the information is there, but there's also someone like on the other end of the...
Right, we have somebody here, right? If you need to talk to somebody, you can call them who actually knows what they're talking about, right? So
definitely.
Okay, great.
Right. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I think that for the next part here, Tanya, I think what we wanted to discuss was actual usage, right? So for those of you who aren't aware, we've been live with ConnectWise Autotask as well. We've been going through. So not only did we have quite long beta testing and kind of brainstorming sessions, but we've also actually had use cases, right, and usage with this. So can you speak a bit about some of the feedback that you've received from actual partners?
Yeah, so Brett Watley is one of our partners who was working directly with ConnectWise with I don't remember the name, Cloud Connect, I think. And then ConnectWise decided to discontinue the solution he was using. So when he learned that we were doing the integration, he came on board with us. And what he's telling us is that he's saving about $250 a month for the license of this system that we're giving in our system for free, right?
Right, because Cloud Connect used to cost them additional each month. Right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So for him, you know, his biggest benefit is that he doesn't have to manually transfer the information every month, and right, and every time he sells a new product, well, he's already notified that there's something to go fix. So yeah, that means he doesn't have to keep updating his client's agreement all the time. And he is one of our partners, I think, that does proration.
Okay.
So he used to do it by hand. So, you know, and we've also had some really great feedback from partners that are just saying, you know, the system is very user friendly and it's easy to use. And, you know, you've done a great job making this easy, because I mean, you know, mapping stuff isn't always
especially if you're not trained to do it, right?
Right. And the way that we name our things in Cumulus, or the way that your billing technician has named things in Cumulus, doesn't mean that they've named the same thing in your PSA. And so the little, you know, quick little features that we've added here and there really make a big difference for our partners when they're using it for the first time.
Right.
Yeah, somebody said it's going to be a huge win for us. So
right. I see one here. Your integration is less awkward than some I've seen. Very easy, user friendly. I like that one.
Yeah, that's really good.
Wonderful. So with that in mind, you know, we mentioned that we, you know, Autotask and ConnectWise, you know, are available here. Can you speak a bit about what's to come?
Yeah, so ConnectWise and Autotask is just the beginning of integrations. There are so many PSAs out there. So we're currently working on Kaseya. Kaseya is going in beta, in early release around September. And we're also in the beginnings with TigerPaw and QuickBooks. So you can expect to see these 3 integrations before the end of 2019.
Aggressive, I love it. Well, as we kind of onboard one, it gets easier for the others. And just to let everybody here know, if you're using any of these other PSAs that we don't have, you know, live right now, please make sure to let your account manager know, or if you're not a partner with us, reach out to our sales team and let them know. What we're doing when we're onboarding these new solutions is we're actually having partners test it with us. And this lets us kind of see, you know, is our process right for that particular PSA? It allows us to try to break it and then fix it, or create, you know, those small little features, right? The little details that really matter when it comes to managing your billing. So please don't be shy. If you see one that's there and it's not available yet, please let us know. Or if you know you have other ones that maybe we didn't mention, you know, in the other section, right? Please do tell us, because we're always looking for improvements, and we need to know what you want. Otherwise, we're just guessing.
Definitely.
So thank you, Tanya. That's fantastic. What I want to just touch on here real quick before we get towards the end of this is just to kind of reiterate SherWeb's mentality in terms of why you're doing this and why we're doing this, and what we can bring to the table. You know, throughout the years, we've grown as a cloud provider, and we're really shifting our mindset to be more of a business partner, and we're listening to the feedback that we're getting from our partners all over the place in terms of improvements, such as, you know, this integration. You know, as mentioned earlier, SherWeb is dedicated to being by your side, and we actually have a variety of partner models and initiatives that were truly born from the feedback that we've gathered from our partners, and even, you know, research within the industry itself. SherWeb provides partners with a modern approach to running your MSP business. We offer training, consultation, support, tools, sales initiatives, and more. We take away the hassle of managing IT in the cloud, so you can focus on growth and doing what you do best. And not to mention, we just were named Microsoft's Indirect SMB Partner of the Year by Microsoft at Inspire. So please let us know how our vast variety of solutions, services, initiatives, and programs can help you succeed. Our partner account management team is available to help you learn more about what we can do for you. And all you have to do is just reach out to sales@sherweb.com to learn more. Or if you're already a partner with us, please contact your account manager. I know I'd be thrilled to work with any of my partners as far as how we can get this set up and really just optimize your business and make it better.
Okay.
So for the next part here, this is where the interactive aspect comes in. So we have seen there have been a few questions coming in, so we just have to make sure we open them up here properly. And we'd like to go over a few. If this will work with us here. Sorry, they got a webinar. Okay. So here's one for you, Tanya. I know with some other integrations, there's a lot of information I fill out at the beginning. Is that the same with SherWeb's? So actually, I think we went over that with the demo. So really, if you could just speak to some of the stuff that you would say, if I were a partner and I said, what are the key pieces of information that I need to bring to the table when setting this up?
Like I said, you need to set up your products with SherWeb as a vendor. So that's what you need to do. You need to set up your API user, or in ConnectWise, it's, sorry, I'm distracted. In ConnectWise, it's an API member, I think that they call it. So, and then basically all the information you need is how you bill your clients,
right, and
then mapping your products and your clients in the screens.
Okay, great. Do we integrate to ConnectWise? Yes, we do. Yeah. Absolutely. ConnectWise is ready to go. So if you don't see the option in your portal, please reach out.
It should already be available to you at the same place in setup with it's ConnectWise Sync. Autotask right now is in early release. Right. So what I've showed you is a preview of what's going to be live in a few weeks.
For those of you, so here we go. Here's a nice one. This is really informative. Thank you. For those of us who don't have a PSA, I would be interested in the feedback from the community concerning which one is recommended the most. Thank you. So I can actually, I'll touch on that a bit on my side. So whomever it was that reached out for that one, I just can't see who actually asked the question. Definitely, please be sure to reach out to your account manager. One of the big factors that we like to bring to our partners is that community engagement. So as far as feedback and what have you, we can let you know what we've heard of in terms of options that are available as far as why. You know, there are going to be a few pieces that you have to consider, whether it's from cost to whatever else you want to use the tool for, right? I know some people use ConnectWise, for example, as a CRM, but it really just depends on that. So I'm not sure if you have any ideas too for feedback as far as what PSA you'd recommend. No? Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm at a loss. I was reading other questions
okay.
while
okay.
you were talking.
But please, reach out to your account manager or a team in general. We'll give you feedback from what our partners say, and we can probably even put you in touch with some other partners who use these different PSAs to let you know.
I can tell you from the, I've gathered my wits from the surveys that we had, that most partners are using ConnectWise and Autotask.
That's the most popular one?
Yeah, those are the ones, the ones that they come up pretty much like in our survey at the beginning of the webinar, head to head in usage. So I guess it depends on the other features that you want from either ConnectWise or Autotask if you want some remote monitoring.
And maybe who are you partnered with, right? If you're a Datto partner, Autotask makes sense,
right?
Because they're together. Okay, let's look at another one we have here.
So somebody asked, I have an option for ConnectWise. How do I get the option for Autotask instead of Cumulus? So like I said, right now, Autotask is in early release. So you just need to ask your partner, your account manager, and they will send a request to the early release team, and we will onboard you as soon as you're ready. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Will it cover products including Cloud PBX? Great question. So it will cover products including Cloud PBX. In fact, it'll include anything that you can see in the SherWeb portal. One of the big factors that we had, which was, we talked about ConnectWise Cloud Console earlier. One of the big reasons that we pushed for full integration was because we wanted to have other products outside of just CSP. So PBX is in there, Performance Cloud, Online Backup, Office Protect, really anything, our new products that we're coming out with, all going to be available. If it's in Cumulus, it can tie in and you can automate the billing.
Definitely. I have another question. To confirm, I can consolidate all my billing under a single management console with this, whether it is a SherWeb product or not. So yes, your single management console will be your PSA tool. So it depends on, so SherWeb integrates automatically with the PSA tool. If you get products from other vendors, then it depends on the vendor if it's going to be integrated automatically or not. But
right, we can't control the other vendors' billing platforms yet. I mean,
Right.
you know, who knows?
Right.
The world's our oyster, right? But no, anything that you add from SherWeb will automatically tie into it, and you basically manage everything from your PSA.
Yeah, and in your PSA, maybe I didn't answer the question properly, so, but in your PSA, in the same contract where you have SherWeb products, you can have non-SherWeb products.
Right.
So and it's going to generate just one bill for your customer as well. So it doesn't have to be a separate bill for SherWeb products. It's
all the same.
All at one place and all in one bill.
Fantastic. Do we have another one we want to go into here?
When we want to increase the quantity of licenses, say for Office 365, do you increase the quantity in the agreement for Autotask or in SherWeb? So the answer is in SherWeb, because you're going to want that license to be provisioned, so to be available. You are going to go into Cumulus and increase the quantity so that the license becomes available to your customer, and it's going to be increased automatically in Autotask in your agreement.
Absolutely, and we're also, so there's a lot of features coming down through Cumulus that we're working on. This is, was the biggest factor. We have, other additional security features coming in and more custom end user facing portal aspects to it as well. But one of the key pieces is also our user management portal. So, one thing to consider as well is when you do provision, you can actually manage a lot of that stuff from Cumulus, right?
Right.
So we're trying to, keep that concept alive where we can have, from a technical management perspective, you have everything you need from SherWeb in our portal, but it ties in billing wise over to your PSA.
Yeah, we tried to keep the action or the information where it's authoritative, right? So Cumulus isn't authoritative for your billing, right? Because you have other products and maybe you're selling managed services and all that. So which is why you this is why you leave your retail prices in Autotask or in ConnectWise, but then the actual provisioning of the services is authoritative in Cumulus, like you said, the technical portal. So if you think about it, where does the information absolutely need to be for this system to work? That's where it goes. So the quantities go in Cumulus and the prices go in Autotask, and we keep these sync.
Great. So I see one here as well. We have hundreds of clients. How easy will the transfer be? So I suppose it depends on what kind of transfer we're talking about.
Right. It will work with hundreds of clients. We have some partners with thousands of clients in their ConnectWise. Certainly the initial setup takes a little longer, the more volume you have. And I mean, the time, it just depends on the time it's going to take you to configure them together, right? To map your SherWeb company to your SherWeb organization to your ConnectWise or
the difficulty
Autotask.
Doesn't increase. It's what we did earlier. It's just there's a few more than the 3 we did.
Right, exactly, right. So, but it can go very fast. If you've kept your naming standard, right, it can go really fast. Sometimes there's confusion or discrepancies, then it takes a little bit longer. But it's still going to be easy.
Right.
Just maybe a bit longer.
Okay. Do we want to do another one here? Would you consider integration with Xero or Salesforce?
So those are good options that we can look into. Right now, they're not on our current roadmap. Right. So we'll just.
Well, I mean, put them in the request. So in your Cumulus portal, you have a product feedback section. You also have your account representatives. Please, the only way that and this is true. The only way that I can get anything accomplished here at SherWeb is if a partner asks me to do it. Yeah. It's incredibly frustrating, but it's good. That's our partner focus. So let us know. We'll work on it. We'll add it. The more we get asked, the higher up on the to-do list.
Right. And I have another question here about connectors for MS Dynamics for Sales and or MS Flow. So same answer. I have another variant for you. There's also the feedback.sherweb.com portal.
Yes.
Which is a user post portal that you can go and submit ideas, vote for suggestions that are already there. So our product directors use that a lot. And if there's something dear to you, something you want, go ahead and suggest it or vote for it if it's already there. We take that feedback into consideration when we're planning our next initiatives.
Right.
I have a basic question.
What is a PSA?
Yeah. So it's professional services automation, just a system that allows you to automate all these things that you do when you're delivering professional services. I don't know.
It could be tickets. It could be, in this case, we're referring specifically to billing and adding quantities to your agreements automatically.
Yeah. So is this for invoicing, billing, etc.? Definitely. This is what we've been explaining, that the synchronization or the integration is going to keep your billing accurate.
Right. With all our product.
Okay, well, all our products in ConnectWise and agreements need to be rebuilt in order to sync with Cumulus? No. The products, you can, unless you're selling the same product that comes from two vendors and you don't want to put SherWeb as a vendor, all you need to do is take the existing products, put SherWeb as a vendor, and that's it. So you don't need to rebuild your agreements unless you have any very particular cases. So far, all the integrations we've done, there was no changes to bring in the PSA. So the existing contracts, existing products, and we didn't do any changes. We just mapped to them and automated it.
Great. Great. So how much time do we have left? I guess we have time for a few more.
Okay. Just, there's.
Will I have to put my resale price in Cumulus?
No, you won't. Again, the information is authoritative in your PSA. Cumulus, it's informative. It's there if you want to have it there, but you don't have to put it there, and it will not impact the price in your ConnectWise or in your Autotask.
I think we'll finish up with just one more here, because I like this question. Will all changes made via the platform need to be done through my billing person, or can my tech take care of it?
Good question. So your tech has the permission to change technical quantities. So you don't have to have a billing person go and update things anymore. You can give the technical manager role, and the person can just update the quantities, and they will be updated automatically in ConnectWise and Autotask. All right.
Great. Well, wonderful. Well, I do see there are a few other questions that we couldn't get to. Please be sure to keep these conversations going with your account rep. I did see a few familiar names in our attendee list, which please feel free to reach out to me. You'll also get the recording of this. So if you came in late or had to take a phone call, whatever the case may be, or if I spoke too fast, I get told that a lot, please be sure you're going to get the recording. It's going to be sent to you via email. And I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess here and say this is going to be on YouTube. So you'll get this information. But if you're very eager and don't want to wait, I encourage you, please reach out to us in sales. We'll be happy to talk you through it. We can get a demo going. Tanya and her team are here to help as well. So we're really all very excited to launch this officially and get people set up. So do you have any kind of wrapping words or anything you want to tie in before we get to the last slide?
I think we've said pretty much everything that had to be said. So keep in mind that these are integrations that we want to stay close to our partners, that we want them to work the best possible way for you. So if there's anything, there's feedback, there's features that you want, don't hesitate to ask for them. We're going to keep iterating and making these better as we add new ones.
Right, because this is our AP. Like we built everything from the ground up.
Definitely.
Right? So we can make changes as we go.
Right.
Awesome. So beautiful. Well, everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. I mean, just to kind of tie everything together again, this is born out of the massive demand that we had for this requirement. So as you run into things, please, we're very open to ideas and improvements, and we will continue to operate this way with anything that has to do with SherWeb, as well as our platforms and portals. And lastly, what I'd like to just point out on the next slide here, if we can just go to that one, not a worry. Lastly is we'd like just to take another minute of your time to cover our annual ShowAccelerate event that's in Montreal. So ShowWeb has been hosting this event for several years now, all designed to bring industry thought leaders to one place and share knowledge with our partners. So at this event, not only will we be joined by industry leaders outside of SherWeb, such as Microsoft, a few names like Carl Palachuk, Chris Weiser, but also our executive team will be at the event to make sure you're up to date on where we're heading and gather additional feedback. This is a 3-day event that we host in Montreal. There's going to be lots of sessions, There's going to be lots of workshops, and of course, a nice fun party in Montreal, which I always enjoy. So if you're interested in learning industry trends, staying up to date with the latest technology, and really just having a great time, please be sure to join us on October 9th to the 11th. You can reach out to any of our team here at SherWeb. We'll be happy to share more information about this. It's a great excuse to get to Montreal if you're not already around Montreal. We have great poutine and smoked meat. So again, thank you everybody for your time. We greatly appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to constantly improving this and speaking to you next time.